Shabbat Shalom everyone, Parashat Miqeṣ. This week I'd like to entertain a question of what is it that Yosef never wrote back to his father? And I'd like to entertain Rabbi Foreman's and Rabbi Binun's answer to this question. In order to understand what was going through Yosef's mind, we need to put ourselves into Yosef's position, into Yosef's shoes. Rabbi Binun points out that many times we fail to understand biblical text because we know too well the stories and we know the end of what's going to happen. However, the characters involved in the story don't necessarily might know all the events. So if we go to right after the aftermath of the sale of Yosef, what doesn't Yosef know? What is the crucial fact that happened in the story that Yosef doesn't know? He doesn't know that right after the sale, his brothers came back to his father with the bloody coat and showed it to him and told him that he had been devoured by a wild beast. So what Yosef does know and does remember is that he told one dream that he had to his brothers in which he portrayed himself as if he was going to raise to a position of power over them, and his brothers hated him and were jealous for that. And then he told a second dream to both his brothers and his father, in which also his father got a bit of a reaction. He wasn't so pleased with this dream of grandeur that Yosef had. And then next thing that happens is Yaakov, his father, sends him to Shechem. Shechem of all places. What does Shechem reminds us of? What happened in Shechem that we just heard about? Obviously the killing by Shimon and Levi of all the people of Shechem. So it's a place that reminds us of blood, of not a nice situation. So all Yosef knows is that his father just got angry at him. He sent him to watch out for his brothers, and next thing he knows is he's been sold by his brothers. He obviously, as we said before, he doesn't know that his brothers then came back with a bloody coat and then tricked his father into believing that he had been killed. Not only that, but it wouldn't be surprising for Yosef to think that he had been kicked out of the family, because it wouldn't be the first time. As we know, Abraham had Ishmael and Yitzchak, and Sarah said to do away with Ishmael. Same thing happened with Yaakov and Esav. Esav was kicked out of the family, and maybe it's happening again. Yosef is being kicked out of the family as well. Not only that, but very interestingly, the reasonings that Yosef gives to the naming of his two children in Egypt, as it says in the Parasha, it says, ויקרא יוסף את שם הבכור מנשה, כי נשני אלוהים את כל עמלי ואת כל בית אבי. And he named his son Menashe because God has made me forget completely my hardship and in my parental home. And the second one, ואת שם השני יקרא אפרים, כי הפרני אלוהים את בארץ עוני. God has made me fertile in the land of my affliction. So he relates to his house, where he used to be the love child, the second in command with his father, and he talks about it as he remembers it as the hardship he experienced over there. And now Yosef finds himself in Egypt. He is been pulled out of a pit. When once before he was put into a pit, he is given new clothes by Pharaoh, and he is being given dreams to listen by Pharaoh, and his interpretations are being listened by Pharaoh as well. And not only that, but Pharaoh also gives him a wife and gives him a new name. Now, what kind of person gives you all these kinds of things? Obviously, a father kind of person. Now, the challenge lies in Yosef. Now that he's only in Egypt, only with Pharaoh, his allegiance lies to Pharaoh. Now, the last question and climax of the story of Yosef will come in next Parasha, when he encounters himself with his father Yaakov, and we have to see whether and where does Yosef's loyalty lie, whether with his real father or his new adopted father. Shabbat Shalom.